Van de TBS-instelling gaan we naar Wall Street. De Canadese psychiater Robert Hare was in de jaren 70 de eerste die onderzoek deed onder psychopaten. Hij ontwierp een checklist die wereldwijd nog steeds wordt gebruikt om de stoornis psychopathie vast te stellen. Nu heeft Hare er een heel nieuw onderzoeksterrein bij. De wereld van de bedrijfspsychopaten. Onlangs stelde hij vast dat bij 5% van de leidinggevenden in bedrijven sprake is van psychopathie.
My description of a psychopath, the simplest term is somebody who is intellectually intact but is without a conscience. For example, we take a word like cancer, rape, or death. These have negative connotations for most people, but for the psychopath, it's the same as table, chair, or car. Most psychopaths are not in prison. They're functioning, they're moving around in the world in all walks of life. We've estimated that maybe 4 or 5% of senior executives would meet our criteria for psychopathy. And in fact, one of the recent studies we just did showed that whenever the psychopathic supervisor walked into the room lit up. Everybody thought this guy or man or woman was charismatic and terrific. But when you actually measure their performance and measure the attitudes of the other people, then you realize, in fact, things are not quite right. Oh, shit. Hello? Yeah, this is not a good time, Paul. No, I've got cameras here, so... Okay, thanks. Now, snake in a suit is a term we coined to describe people who have many psychopathic characteristics, but who dress in the garb of the businessman. That is, people who don't look as if they are dangerous or have or problems for the rest of the world, but in fact they are. Psychopaths will certainly like power and control and like to dominate other people. And of course, the reason is that their prime concern is themselves. And the way you can satisfy all your needs, and more importantly, your wants, is to actually control the environment, and that includes the social environment. So you don't get what you want by allowing other people to do what they want to do. You've got to control them. So they like power, they like dominance, they like all the finer things of life, they like the trappings, the superficial things, the flashy cars, the big houses, having 2 or 3 women on their arms if they're males. Yes, fits in very nicely with the psychopathic lifestyle. One good psychopath can destroy an entire organization. I've had lots of emails and letters from people who work in government, in civic organizations, and their lives are being destroyed by one person in the organization.
Volgens Robert Hare wordt het voor psychopaten steeds makkelijker om binnen te dringen in de hoogste regionen van het bedrijfsleven. Met name de financiële wereld is kwetsbaar.
Psychopaths will always be able to flourish in any organizational structure, whether it's relatively small or really massive. But in the last 10 or 15 years, the economic climate has changed considerably. And we had, with the introduction of the internet and all these new ways of raising money very, very quickly.
Guys, we're looking at an unprecedented meltdown here. I've never seen anything like this.
We started with junk bonds, moved on to all sorts of other things, these net-com things.
We're making money on the losses. How do you make money on losses? You tell me.
The rules and regulations are kind of amorphous, ambiguous. Nobody knows what to do.
Tell your banks not to sell the stock.
The stock is overreacting right now.
In fact, the greater the chaos in the structure, the greater the opportunities are for the psychopath to enter stage right. Here I am, I'm going to save you.
I can still get you out now at a total loss, but at least you won't know.
So people now have to make decisions fairly quickly.
Give me the okay to sell, buddy.
2 or 3 seconds delay could mean $100 million loss or a gain.
Sell. Robbie, gotta call you later.
And the people, I think, that can make these decisions most quickly without losing too much sleep over it are those with a fairly heavy dose of psychopathic features. Not to say that all people in this, in working in stock markets and at Wall Street are psychopaths, but I mean, if you were just an ordinary person, you wouldn't last very long in that particular environment. Madoff is he's an example of affinity fraud writ large.
Bernie Madoff werd opgepakt in 2008 voor beursfraude. De grootste individuele fraude ooit, maar liefst $65 miljard. Vriend en vijand en zelfs familie wist hij om de tuin te leiden. De rechtbank veroordeelde hem tot levenslang.
This guy was able to ensnare all sorts of people. Most of them belonged to the same sort of clubs and country clubs that he belonged to, so in a sense he was one of them. So it's classic affinity fraud. You belong to a group. In this case, the group was very large and very, very wealthy. We're talking about, well, probably thousands of people investing tens of millions of dollars, their life savings, pension funds, inheritances. People give him all this money because he was given a fine return. Now the question is, how could he do it? What characteristics did he have that would allow him to actually take the life savings of a close friend, knowing that that person is very likely in the end to lose those life savings? Who could do that? Could you do that for your wife or your daughter, your sister?
Only a psychopath can.
A psychopath could, because it's no big deal. What's the difference? A family member, a stranger, treated pretty well the same in terms of emotional, social connections and attachments.
He has a goal.
The goal is to enrich oneself. The goal is that other people are there to facilitate helping me as a psychopath, if I were a psychopath.